What's up, folks? Welcome to Southern Fried Relic Hunting. Now, I know you're used to me out digging relics and things with a metal detector and walking to creeks looking for old bottles and old Indian artifacts and such, but today I'm going to try something different. I'm going to do a vlog. I've never done a vlog before, but I think it'd be pretty interesting, and you know, it's something to add to the mix. You know, I get a lot of comments about, you know, the different historical places we go to, and a lot of places I can't tell because, you know, you just don't want to let people know about your good hunting spots. But this, I can tell you the name of the town, the location, and everything. And I'm going to be going to interesting historical sites, grave sites, anything of historical significance. And well, I just hope you enjoy it. So my first vlog is going to start now, and it's going to be visiting the grave of the most beautiful woman in South Carolina from the 19th century. So let's get it started, shall we? Hello, Ellie. What are you doing, girl? Huh? This is Ellie and Bullet. And there's Taz. They're my three big babies. And we're gonna let them out for a minute and put them up and head to the cemetery. So give me about 5 minutes and I'll be right back with you. We are now on the way to the grave of Mary Avery Toland. It is said that she was the most beautiful woman in South Carolina back in the mid-1800s, but that is not the most interesting thing about her. The most interesting thing about her happened after she died. And I'll get more into that whenever we get to the gravesite. And let me tell you a little bit about the gravesite. It is Ebenezer Presbyterian Church in Rock Hill, South Carolina. And it was established in 1785, I believe. And I think that the oldest marked grave in this cemetery is from 1790, I believe. Yeah, I'll check more into it, but I'm pretty sure it's 1790 is the oldest marked grave there. And another interesting fact about it is that there is a veteran from every war in the United States all the way back to the Revolutionary War. And I think I'm going to do a vlog on that too, but not today. Today I'm going to be concentrating on Mary and the interesting fact about her. So whenever I get there, I'll get back with you. See you in a minute. We're now coming up on Ebenezer Church. This used to be a town. It was Ebenezerville, and it's since been incorporated into the city of Rock Hill. But it was a really good town on its own, and now that the Rock Hill is incorporated, it's just Ebenezer Road. So I'm gonna see where I can park at, and then I'm gonna go in and ask if there's a problem with me doing my vlog. And I'll be right back with you. Well, that turned out to be pretty cool. I just had a talk with the ladies in the office of the church, and they said, yes, no problem, go ahead and do what you got to do. And I said, I wish I had a picture of her, because I don't have a picture of her, but they gave me the information of somebody who does have a picture of her, and that was really cool. So hopefully before I post this blog that I can have a picture of Mary too. This is so cool. All right, well, let me show you all the graveyard. Let me show you all this church. This church, like I said, 1785 was built, and there's an old schoolhouse, and I think there's a historical marker on it, and we'll come back to that. But here's the graves. Good night. Look at it. Really looks like a picture of a beginning of a horror story, but you know, not to try to put it down or anything, but you know, old gravestones and everything. And like I said, the oldest grave here is 1790. So let's go in here. Let's go in here and see if we can't find Miss Mary. And I'll tell you a little bit about what made her, what was the big deal about her after she passed. Old wrought iron fence. Now, the last time I was here, I believe she was somewhere in this vicinity. So I'm gonna go check there first. Now, Mary, her house was just over this way, about 200 yards, and she attended this church as a little girl. And I'm sure she walked through this graveyard too, being how it's so old. See if we can find her. I know she's in this vicinity. Where are you at, Miss Mary? I found her. She is right here. Mary A. Toland. Miss Mary, she was born in 1832 right here in Ebenezer, and used to be Ebenezerville. And her dad was Colonel Edward T. Avery, and his wife was Miss Mary. No, I don't think that's right. Hold on. Here's her mom and dad. I'm sorry. He was Colonel Edward and his wife Mary S. Avery, and this is their daughter, the most beautiful woman in South Carolina, Mary Avery Toland. Now, I told you I would tell you the big deal about Miss Mary here is that she was born, like I said, in 1832, and in, I think, 1849 she went to a ball in Columbia. It was her coming out ball, which is called a debut or debutante. So while she was there, she met a gentleman named Hugh Toland, and he was like 20 years her senior. And he told a friend of his, he says, "That's the most beautiful woman I've ever seen. I'm gonna marry her." And after a short courtship, they got married. And it said that she was kind of ill, so he wanted to move her to a drier climate, so they moved to San Francisco. He loaded up the wagon, had it was before Transcontinental Railroad, so they went on a covered wagon all the way out west. And Mary made it all the way to San Francisco, but when they got there in camp, she contracted cholera, and unfortunately she died 3 days later. Well, Mr. Toland, her husband, had promised Mary's mother that if anything should happen to her, he would return her here to South Carolina. And although he made that promise true, it was 25 years later. He took her into San Francisco and had her embalmed. And it's rumored that he had her in a glass coffin in his house and had her, or in his office. And it was also said that he just kept her in a tomb, but unsealed it so he could eventually get her out and bring her home. Well, in 1877, he kept that promise to her mother, and he brought her here back to South Carolina via the Transcontinental Railroad. He said that whenever he put her on that train, he put her in 7 coffins. Now, King Tut had 8 coffins, but he put her in 7 coffins, and said she was just as beautiful when he brought her here as she was when she died. So she was just as pretty. I guess whoever embalmed her did a very good job. But I just can't help but think, oh, is she in here in those 7 coffins? Or did they, just break it down to 1 or what? But, it's just amazing that he would keep her for 25 years just to keep the promise to her mother. He's also the founder of Toland University in California. They never had any children, and he remarried and had more children. But it was sad to hear that she made it all the way across transcontinental United States to San Francisco and caught cholera as soon as they got into California. It's pretty sad. And I don't know about y'all, but it's like a morbid curiosity. Is she still in those 7 coffins? And if so, you know, does she still look the same? Or, you know, it's hard to say. But, you know, maybe that's my morbid curiosity. Maybe I shouldn't have said that. But this is her. Okay, I'm gonna read you this article that was wrote about her. Beautiful Mary of Ebenezer. The story of Beautiful Mary of Ebenezer is a favorite one of this area. Her full name was Mary America Avery Toland, and she was said to be the most beautiful woman in South Carolina. Now, this article says that she was born in 1818, but she was born in 1832. And she says she was one of the 7 children of Colonel Edward and Mary Elizabeth Vaughn Avery, residents of the small village of Ebenezerville, now part of Rock Hill. Colonel Avery, a Virginia native, was well-to-do and could afford the best for his lovely daughter. The breathtaking beauty made her debut, her debutante ball, in 1849 at the annual State House Ball held in the governor's mansion. It was a social event of the year. At the ball, Mary's dark blue eyes and long black lashes set in a perfectly shaped oval face attracted the attention of Dr. Huger H. Toland, a wealthy and prominent citizen of Columbia. Dr. Toland told the friend that she was the most beautiful woman he had ever seen, and he intended to marry her. They were married after a short courtship. Apparently, Mary had some health issues, and Dr. Toland decided that she needed a change of climate and that they would go to California. The recent discovery of gold had brought California much attention as the land of milk and honey. Dr. Toland outfitted a caravan for the long overland trip. Mary's mother was frightened at the prospect of her delicate daughter making such an arduous journey, and made Toland promise her that if anything should happen to Mary, that he would bring her back to Ebenezer Cemetery. Now, Dr. T. Avery, Mary's brother, accompanied the Tolands on the long trip through the unsettled country. It took 6 months to reach the West Coast. They camped on the outskirts of San Francisco. The first night in the camp, Mary contracted cholera. She died 3 days later, September 22nd, 1852. Dr. Toland took Mary's body into San Francisco and had her embalmed. Then he ordered the construction of a vault for her body. Some accounts say that Toland kept her in a casket in his office. Others say it was kept in his home. In any case, it was certain that the body was not interned while in California. So it wasn't interned. It was just in a temporary vault or in his home or in his office. And some say it was a glass casket. For 25 years, Dr. Toland built a thriving medical practice. He founded San Francisco's Toland University, and he's also had a son, Arthur Toland, who became a famous actor. In 1877, 25 years after the death of Mary, Dr. Toland decided to keep the promise he made to Mary's mother to return her body to Ebenezerville. By that time, I'm sorry, I got confused. In the 25 years since Mary's Toland's departure in a covered wagon, many changes had improved American transportation. Transcontinental railroad lines were in place, and the body was shipped by train to Ebenezerville, placed in 7 coffins. Dr. Toland and his second wife accompanied the body. Dr. Toland said that she was just as beautiful on the day she died as on the day she died. Others testified that this was true. Toland composed an inscription on her tombstone, and it's written right here. and it says, "No one so beautiful as she, fairest of form and face, a queenly mien of modesty, crowned every other grace." In 1871, the late U.S. Supreme Court Justice Hugo Black, a relative of Toland, came to Ebenezer and visited the grave of the most beautiful woman in South Carolina. So I thought this would be pretty interesting to start my vlog. This is my first one, and I figured it'd be a pretty cool vlog to have. And like I said, this whole cemetery is covered by this rock wall. Beautiful grave, beautiful cemetery. Well, that's my vlog for today, and I really hope you enjoyed it as much as I enjoyed making it. I've really done a lot of research, and like I said, I really wanted a picture of Mary Toland, and by going inside the church and asking permission to come out here, they gave me the information of somebody who might have a picture of her. So hopefully that's true, and I can put it in this vlog. I'm going to include a picture of her husband, Hugh Toland, too, and he was a prominent doctor and then moved to San Francisco, like I said, and had his own started his own university. So that's going to do it for me today, and I hope you enjoyed it. I'd like to make it as good as possible and as interesting as possible, and include as much information as I possibly can. So like I said, hope you enjoyed it, and that's the end of my vlog today. See ya. Well, unfortunately, I was not able to get a picture of Mary, but I did call the guy that had the picture, and he said that he would be glad to tell me anything I want to know, but he had promised the people in the Avery family that if he, you know, they would give him a copy because he lived in the house, the old Avery house, but they will not want him to photocopy or, you know, make prints of the photo portraits or anything. So that was unfortunate, but the good thing is that he was really nice. He was a really nice guy, and he is going to help me with my vlogs. He's got a lot of knowledge of history, and especially in South Carolina, and he's going to we're going to get together as soon as this mess is over and talk about some good ideas for vlogs and stuff. But like I said, it's most unfortunate I did not get to get a portrait of Mary, but I am going to go over there one day and just take a look at them. If I am able to find a portrait with, you know, somewhere else, I'll put it on the blog. But anyway, that's all I need to say. But y'all have a great day, great week, be safe out there, and we'll see you next time. Bye.